Welcome to Muscular Minds Podcast, where we want to build mental toughness and resilience for you, your family, your faith, and your future. Thanks for joining us today.
All right, welcome to Muscular Minds. We're here tonight doing our high-intensity workout for our mind with Sergeant First Class Scott Patrick. And so he is here to talk to us about some of the things that he has learned through his military career, trying out for Special Forces, and also blessed to have him here sharing his wisdom, his insights. Welcome, Scott. We're glad to have you tonight.
Hey, thanks, Jared.
It says you've kind of tried out and did that a couple of times. Tell me about kind of that process for you.
All right. So the first time, so the selection process is broken into 3 weeks that each get progressively harder. Your first week is gate week. That's kind of like, are you even fit to be here? Like they have gates set up, and the way they set up all of their training, but especially the gates, is beautiful, right? They give you, because they know their audience. They have all these people like the drive I've been explaining, and they give them a gate or a standard that is an unknown distance, and you have an unknown time standard to get there. But both of those things exist, and you know they exist. And so they would brief you something like this. All right, you're going to be doing a ruck today. This is an unknown distance. You have an unknown amount of time to get there. The only information that you are being given right now is that you must run to meet the standard. And they would almost identical brief every time, something like that. And it was a great place because it was just designed to mentally grind on you. You're just like, that's pressure. Like you're in a group of people that all want the same thing. That you've seen like football players be competitive, getting amped up before a game. This is like that, but like 1,000 times. You're just the first group of men that I've seen for most of these guys, because they're young, and this is the first time they're like, this is hard. Like the first real challenge they're going to really feel for doing for a lot of them. And so with that pressure on them, they're like, I'm not going to fail in front of these guys. And so you see dudes killing themselves, running miles under 80, 100 pounds and running for miles. And being around that group of people is just absolutely intoxicating. I can't stress that enough. I touched on it.
Is that because of this desire to achieve and to peak out in every way you can, mentally, emotionally, physically?
Yes, but to tie that back into like everybody else, because this is not everybody's cup of tea. I'll be the first to tell you that. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not one to judge because people don't do this type of hard thing, right? But everybody has their own hard things to do. And you have to find a group like this. There was no complaining. I went in January the second time. It was sleeting on us for a large portion of the time. Nobody once complained. And if they did, they generally dropped very soon after. It's intoxicating to be around that. So much drive that the negativity goes away. And that's something, this is an extreme example of it. I'll be the first to tell you, but it's something everybody needs. You need your circle to be like that and be that kind of supportive. They weren't unrealistically supportive. They would be honest. Like, hey man, you're hurt. You need to if you're like for this next thing, like there was a man, he severely sprained his ankle on one of the ruck marches, very swollen. Like we were somewhat worried that there was a fracture, right? And there probably was some degree of a fracture on it, but there was no complaining on his part. There was no, hey, you need to quit from anybody else. It was, hey man, you're hurt. Let's wrap that up. I'll help you so that you can do this next thing. Like nobody asked him if he wanted to quit. They supported him in his goals, and they'd be like, hey, I'm going to help you get through this. Here, let me wrap that a little tighter. Let me set that. Let's switch out the freaking way your boots lace so that we can support that better, but let the swelling not be compressed. Like we would make adjustments, right? Whatever it was, we did some crazy stuff. But that is something everybody, when you're approaching whatever the hard thing is, whenever you're getting to your hard things, your circle is important.
Who you have around you that's helping push you or hold you back.
Yeah. Yeah. And to have realistic but supportive people that are just that understand the need for you to do the hard thing. Because you don't want people that are gonna, well, that's too much, man. Well, maybe it is, but I'll fail on my own. And who knows, maybe that failure is just a stepping stone. More than likely it is, right? The second week is land navigation, and the third week is team week. The first 2 weeks, each of them are a milestone. but the first 2 weeks are the hardest in the sense of you're moving. It's widely accepted that you move about 100 miles in those first 2 weeks between the gate events and the land navigation events. Those are long movements. You're moving over 10 miles between navigation points. You're finding a stake with a dog tag with a grid on it in the ground in the woods, and there'd be up to 17 miles apart.
And you have to
movements.
navigate to each point.
Yes. And it's not forgiving terrain at all. It is draws that are just ridiculously deep. And it's like the worst of the North Carolina terrain. So it's cold, it's wet, it's up and down, it's steep, it's overgrown, it's just hard. And then team week, you just get absolutely annihilated. They start doing just things that normal people that haven't been conditioned up to this wouldn't see as possible. They'll do stuff like take 2 wheels off a Jeep, one off the front, one off the back, and tell you to move that Jeep 12 miles before 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. And it'll be down a road, up and down hills, sand, mud, rocks. And the only tools you have to do it are yourselves, some crazy heavy steel bars that you run through and lash to the axle with some rope that's too short to do that. And then you have every unknown distance here. We'll for the story, we'll say every mile they're going to stop and give you another problem, because they don't want to just see the team that can. Your important part of team week, you're broken into 12-man teams, but they don't want to see a team that's just going to muscle through. They want to see somebody that's going to be absolutely rock bottom and just not think about stopping.
I'm hearing a lot of problem solving too, on the fly, difficult, high level problem solving.
Yes. So that those problems you get every mile, they might be, hey, you just discovered a down pilot. Take this 300-pound sandbag, and now that's part of your problem. Move it the rest of the way. And, oh, by the way, you can't put him in the Jeep. So you're figuring out, all right, can we tie some of these steel pipes and make a litter? What do we have on us? We'll take we think we took a poncho, took it between 2 steel pipes and made a litter out of it, lashed him to that with some extra 550 cord, paracord. And we moved like that for miles. And then at the end of team week, your teams get broken apart. It's individual event again. And you have to make a 30-mile movement at the end of this to get to the line. To then, of the guys that cross that line within the time, you are selected. And they don't take everyone. So you can make it all the way to the end and not get picked. So
I'm just hearing the incredible intensity of doing these super hard things. But I did pick something out that you don't do it alone necessarily. There is a team, a group aspect to it, to where you achieve. And it sounds like that's a huge part of what Special Forces is. It's just the cohesiveness of a team.
Yes. And it's evident from start to finish with these guys. I can't say enough good things about them. They have their issues, sure, but these guys are doing stuff that we wouldn't even
don't seem humanly possible.
Yeah. The even just the effects of having those 12 dudes going on a real mission, they're often creating effects that would take an army. Sometimes they're literally going to a place that does not like America and making an army and flipping it to a area that is a much more favorable opinion of America. So these just insane tasks that these guys do, and that their training doesn't stop there. Another gate to being, okay, you're now a Green Beret, you're now Special Forces, is SEER school. And that stands for Survive, Evade, Escape, Resist, the words that go in the acronym. And what that is it's a month-long school where you are learning to survive as a POW or on the run from enemy forces by yourself or with a team. And that, again, is broken into weeks. The first 2 weeks are pretty basic and technical. But the last 2 weeks, you are evading dogs. You are evading people, actual police departments will come out and train chasing you through the woods. And then for that last week, so that was the second to last week, your last week, you are a POW you are violently apprehended at the end of your evasion period. You are put in restraints. You're left on a concrete floor out in the cold to sleep. You don't have food the last week unless you can steal it from the guards, which is very, very unlikely. And then you have to use the techniques that they've taught you and you've developed over your career at this point, because this isn't an entry-level school generally. Pilots are kind of an exception. Pilots all have to go to this school at the end of their basic stuff, but still they have some sort of foundational skills to go to this school. So you have to take those and what they've taught you at the school. And I have to be careful because there's a lot that I cannot say about this school, but you have to use these skills to navigate the problems that they present you with in a way that does not compromise the information your team was given at the beginning, right? And there's not a lot of rules to what they can do to you. So it's not all like physically violent. Sometimes they mentally mess with you.
Kind of
Like
tortured,
I had one
physically,
Yep.
mentally.
I'll talk about 2 interrogations to just close the SEER school thing up when I went to it. I had one interrogation they kicked the door open. He's like, I'm going to fix you. And he starts beating me around the room senseless, like slams me to the wall, like hits me with a knee, like all jacked me up. And we're not allowed to fight back because we have to use the techniques they're teaching us. Right. So I'm able to use the correct technique. I'm able to end that scenario. And then another interrogation, he came in all nice. I haven't eaten in 3 or 4 days. He gave me an apple, a bottle of water. I was like, I freaking scarf that thing down. And then he starts pulling out pictures of my kids. He's like, hey, you married outside your league, man. And he had a picture of my family, all of my kids. He knew where I went to church, he knew all this stuff about me.
He's hitting those nerve points.
Yeah. And I had, again, I wasn't ready for that. I was like, nah, he's not going to find all that. Like, cause they tell you at the beginning, you have to sign a waiver. We're going to do a background check on you, blah, 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 blah. They started pulling out pictures. And for the first, probably about 30 seconds, I hope not longer than that, I was not doing well. You're broken. That hit the shock button. And then I was able to adjust and kind of move through the rest of the scenario and get out of that situation. But the military is great at teaching this kind of physical to mental resiliency. And it's ironic that they don't touch on it because the correlation to everything we just talked about and our spiritual walk, right, is so parallel. It's beautiful.
The struggle together, the overcoming things. Sometimes I think the denying of ourselves of things that, that we want to do that we can't. I appreciate that. And Scott, I certainly appreciate your sharing. I appreciate you taking time to talk with us. We look forward to maybe talking to you again sometime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. And as always, we talk about mental fitness and mental toughness here on Muscular Minds. You can check out our other podcasts at muscularminds.com or our YouTube channel. And we're excited we've had Scott here tonight. We look forward to talking to him again, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining Muscular Minds today, where strength isn't measured by how much you lift, but who you lift up. And that starts with you.